Going live, going live, going live. We're going to cook a roasted cauliflower chickpea salad. My wife got this together. You need to go to bed, please. So we got a little guy here that's supposed to be in bed, and now he's trying to push the limits because we got back late from the park. So anyway, we're going to cook us a cauliflower date. It's got some peppers. I'm using bell peppers instead of the Fresno. This is off of plant-based hearty Instagram. My wife wanted me to cook this one. I always change it up a little bit. I will read you the ingredients here in just a minute. So I've got the oven. I just turned it on. It's probably going to take a little bit to get to the 425. So we're going to finish this in about 20, 25 minutes, just going over what I think is healthy, what you can consider doing in your own diet. You need to go to bed. So for the roasted cauliflower, you had 1 small head of cauliflower, 1 tablespoon nutritional yeast, 1 teaspoon dry thyme, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, half a teaspoon of ground coriander, 15-ounce chickpeas. The chickpeas she roasts separately. I'm roasting everything together. Out of the refrigerator, please. 2.5 tablespoons avocado oil, kosher salt. She does 2 trays. I have already gotten 1 tray together. It's got the chickpeas. It's got the cauliflower. It's got the spices. I did not have dry thyme. I used herbes de Provence, which is a French mixture of herbs, and thyme is one of the things that's in there. Thyme. Thyme. Right. So in the skillet, you're going to put together 2 tablespoons Evo, 1 medium lemon, 1 large shallot, 1 Fresno chili, which I'm using a bell pepper, not really a chili, 4 Medjool dates, and 2 cloves of garlic grated. Christian, bed. The dressing is 1/4 cup tahini. This adds, most tahini has a little added oil, right? So that kind of goes against what I normally do. I try not to use any processed oil, salt, sugar. There may even be a tiny bit of salt with one of the herb blends that I put on my vegetables, right? So sometimes I break my own rules a little bit, but I try to cook hardcore forks over knives when I'm doing this show. Do I always eat that way? No. When my wife roasts vegetables, she uses olive oil. I would suggest that olive oil may be one of the better oils if you do oil. But forks over knives, these guys are big into preventing all sorts of disease, and I agree with them that in the American diet, we got too much oil. So if you can cut back some of your oil, I think that would be wise and something you might consider. You got a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, clove of garlic, 1/4 cup finely minced. I can't even read my writing here. It looks like chims, but it's not chims. Chives. Oh, chives. So I basically just use scissors and chop off the green part of the onion for my chives. So preheat the oven 420 degrees. She does it in 2 trays. She separates her chickpeas from the other stuff. And then she does it 20 minutes, flip 10 minutes, right? So we're going to put that all in here. Once this gets up to 425, set the timer. I'm going to put 15 minutes because I've made this pretty small. My cauliflower is in pretty small little chunks here. And I used a large head, and I saved some of it. Also, my my cauliflower was not perfect. I picked off some of the black pieces that were in there. I would suggest don't throw your vegetables away. You can still use them unless they are completely rotten all the way through. So we're also going to need to pull out a skillet here. This is not my favorite skillet for sauteing because it's kind of flat, but it's the one that I have available. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the front burner on my stove, and hopefully it really lights. We're going to let that heat up. We're going to saute that. For that, we have a lemon cut in half. We're going to put those face down and let those get black. The way she said was saute low heat, lemon cut side down, shallots and peppers other side. Cook lemon undisturbed for 4 to 5 minutes or until brown. Saute shallots, peppers for 2 minutes. Add garlic and dates. Saute for 3 to 5 minutes. So we're going to let that get a little bit hot. I don't use oil, so a lot of times it's hard not to get stuff burnt and blackened. I do use water to kind of fix the cooking process while I'm doing it. So when I saute, I do it without oil. Most people use oil kind of to protect their pans and so that the stuff doesn't stick to the pan when it's on high heat. We're going to turn this down to medium low. Well, we're going to leave this high for a minute. Let that get a little bit more warm. And then I'm going to start sauteing some of that stuff. Once again, once this gets up to 425, I am going to pop this pre-made. I got a little bit of parchment paper here. I think parchment paper is silicone based, so it's good up to 4-something degrees. Chickpeas, cauliflower, spices, rubbed together. I used a little bit of my tahini, which does have a little bit of oil. I did not pull the oil that it separated out. So I let the oil drip back off but something just to kind of get those spices to stick to the cauliflower and the chickpeas. Then we're going to saute all the veggies. We're going to put it all together, drizzle it with a little bit of a sauce that we're going to make. Let's start putting some of that sauce together. So we're going to, let me go over here, see if I can find my measuring cups. I don't really use measuring cups much anymore. Maybe I'm able to get these out without destroying them in the store. Probably not. That's all right. So that is about a 1/4 cup, right? So not a ton, but enough to make a sauce with. So just based on that, we're going to kind of pull some of this tahini sauce out of here. As you can see, the oil is separated, so I'm going to kind of grab the stuff that is just without the oil. We're going to put this in this little dish. We're going to start whisking it. This you probably would make toward the end, but my oven is not heated up yet, so we're going to try not to bore you too much as we're cooking this there thing. And part of this too is your experimentation. Like, hey, maybe the exact mixture that they like in their recipe is a little different than your flavor profile. And only after you start cooking for yourself do you recognize, like, hey, I might want a little bit more tahini in that sauce than what they've got, right? So unlike baking, cooking sometimes is an experimentation. And you can start off with a recipe and experiment for yourself and see what flavors maybe you like more, what you like less, what you're going to put a little bit less of, what you're going to put a little bit more of, right? I know that I love black pepper, and I think that my taste buds are more black pepper than the average American. And I could be lying about that, but that's my opinion. From what I see, what other people use, I might even put I might put some black pepper on this. So anyway, we're going to pop this in the oven. We're going to set the timer for about 15 minutes. And I'm going to check it in 15 minutes. The recipe told me 20 minutes. I'm going to put 10 minutes, right? So, and we're going to see what that looks like. I like to go more by feel and sight than necessarily what somebody tells me. A lot of times I find out, oh man, they roasted their stuff a little more than I would. And maybe my oven is a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't verified that my oven is exactly what it's supposed to be, right? Temperature-wise, I have not put a thermometer in my oven and said, hey, the little digital display, is it the same as a maybe an analog thermometer to kind of verify it? Is that really true? So this calls for a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. I'm going to kind of just whisk that together. Let's see. This one has the seeds up in there. We've got tahini, mustard, a clove of garlic, which I chopped up a while ago. Garlic. Try not to cut ourselves. This has dried out immensely since I first cut it, which is fine. That's going to add, I love garlic, cooked, uncooked. I like it cooked a little bit better than not cooked. And I would suggest to you, garlic is very good for your health. If there were one vegetable that I could encourage you to eat more of, garlic would be way up there, right? I've read studies where garlic is very inhibitory to most cancers. I don't know what the exact chemical in the garlic is. I just know that garlic is really, really healthy. And I think that it is in a lot of cuisines, definitely in Italian. I love me some Italian food, but this is kind of a Mediterranean dish, I believe. And I may need a little bit more tahini in this sauce. It's supposed to be a quarter cup finely chopped chives. We're going to put that all in there, just kind of whisk it together. Probably needs a little, that was definitely probably not a quarter cup of tahini in there. But once again, the combination can sometimes be adjusted for your taste. I'm going to go off camera here for a minute. I'm going to get a little bit of water. I'm going to just pour a tiny bit in there, and I'm going to kind of whisk this. And we're going to just keep incorporating water until this has more of a consistency of like a drizzle, a sauce that you can drizzle over the top of your roasted vegetables. I think that if I whisk this enough, and that's not, I mean, I'm not using a traditional whisk. I'm just using a spoon. Use the tools that you already have until you can get more tools. If you are starting to cook in the kitchen, that would be my suggestion, right? You can do a lot with a spoon, just a spoon and a knife and a spatula, right? So I'll probably have to get a spatula out here. This is still looking a little bit thick. So I'm going to just get a little bit more water. I'm going to whisk that a little bit more. Then I'm going to check the heat in my pan. I may need a little bit more tahini just to thicken this up because now I may have too much water in there. So once again, we really, really want to incorporate that well, stir it very well, whisk it very well. That is getting close to a consistency that I think I could drizzle over the top of my roasted vegetables. We're going to let that just sit here for a minute. That pan feels pretty warm. I'm going to turn that down to kind of a low heat. I'm going to get a little bit more water here so that we can start sauteing our, are you not in bed? You're supposed to be in bed. So this will also give me a quick test to see how hot the surface is. It feeds all up. So that is pretty hot. So that would probably get me to a place where it's going to, so this is going to kind of steam my lemons a little bit too. Really hot. I'm going to try to keep that moving so I don't get a big black spot that I have to clean later. I've got about 5 minutes on my, I'm going to put the onions and the peppers on here. Was that, yeah, buddy? You know you're supposed to be in bed, right? So this, the recipe called for shallots. I have just very small little white pearl onions. That's what I have.
I get it.
Yeah, we're not going to put that in the pan, buddy. The one that's on the floor, let's put off to the side. No, not in there. Ow! Not in here, please. No, don't eat it, please. So anyway, this is kind of why I call this Chaos Kitchen also, is because sometimes I got little kids in here that were supposed to be taking a nap. Sometimes things do not go smoothly, and you know what? If you have a real family, a real life, maybe that's happening to you too when you are cooking. So we're going to saute these down. We're going to let that go for about 5 minutes. On the lemon, to get a nice char on that, we're going to let the peppers and the shallot go. Once that goes for a couple minutes, I'm going to add the dates and the garlic. So I've already cut up my Medjool dates. I've already got some extra garlic here. That's supposed to be grated, but I really just kind of minced that. Yeah, buddy. Do it. Get it off. Go to bed. So I may need a little bit more water here. Turn that up a little bit more. And to me, it's more about like the feel. Like when I press down with the spatula, I definitely want my onions almost translucent. The peppers can be cooked down definitely a lot softer than they are. And I can feel kind of with the spatula that not much cooking has gone on there. So I like to go a lot by feel, smell, not always by the exact time. So we're going to let that go for a couple more minutes. We're going to put the dates and the garlic in there. And see what it looks like, right? So once again, if you're on Facebook, you can see in Poppin' the Plant Flavor what this dish will look like. I will post pictures after the dish is done. And maybe I'll start telling you what I think, because sometimes I've done a really good job on dishes. And as I learn, I get better and better at cooking. But especially when I first started, some things would not be cooked through enough, in my opinion. So these definitely might even need more than the amount of time, especially since I've got this. It's kind of a mid to low heat. So this may take longer than what I think the recipe asks for, right? So bed. It's time for bed. So I may go ahead and I'm going to rinse this spoon off. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more tahini off camera again, like a really good host. And I'm going to, not right now, I'm cooking. When I'm done, once again, I'm trying not to get a lot of extra oil, because once again, on the show, I'm trying to cook without oil. At least extra added oil, right? So that's what I like to call myself, plant-based. Because most of the time I cook, especially when I'm cooking for myself, I do it without oil. I do it without salt. I do it without added sugar. Let's see, where's my spatula? Spatula. I'm going over here to the pan. I wish I had more cameras here so you can kind of see what's going on in the pan. That would be an added. Like, I used to love the old Alton Brown show, Good Eats. Did you guys ever watch that show? It was amazing. He had cameras in the oven. He had cameras in the refrigerator, all sorts of different places. And maybe we'll get to that point eventually. But I would love to see you guys, or have you guys be able to look over my shoulder as I'm cooking to kind of see. Like I said, I definitely want the onions translucent, almost clear. And I definitely would like these peppers a lot softer than they are right now. So I might turn this heat up just a little bit more. What is it? You need some water? Go get it. It's right over there. So we're going to go ahead and put the dates and the garlic in there. I'm going to take a look. Yeah, it's done, buddy. We're going to check everything in there. You do realize that you're supposed to be in bed, right? Yeah. I know, because you got back from the park, and I thought you were in bed. I messed up. Did I mess up? Yeah, it's called a timer, buddy. And it makes a sound. No. I'll go and sample. That is timer. Yeah. Is that true? So we're basically just sauteing this down. We're incorporating all these flavors. We're going to see how this ends up. Do we like it? Yeah, could you put that up where you found it, please? Was it in the trash? Yeah. No. That was not in the trash. Please do not put that in the trash. And thank you. And you do pick the most ideal times to start helping me in the kitchen, bud. It's fast. Don't please. Please put that up. And thank you. So basically right now we're letting our saute go. We're going to check these vegetables. I'm going to let them go another couple minutes. And then we're going to flip those over and see what they look like. So we've been going for about 20 minutes now. We're going to go a few more minutes. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you pictures on the Facebook page, YouTube. Maybe I will start videotaping some footage for YouTube in the future. Let me know if that's something that would interest you. So once again, we're just roasting these. We've had some farro here. This recipe, they want you to put it over some sort of grain. I love farro. I don't know if you've ever tried farro. My wife made this for me before she left. She's much better at cooking grains. I could have added that to the show, but once again, I'm trying to limit the time here to about 20, 25 minutes, just giving you an idea for yourself how you can cook. Once again, if you would love to cook, if you like to cook with people, if you love to cook with me, if you would love to show me a recipe and have me destroy it for my audience, and you can take credit for your version as you cook it with me, or whatever you would like to do there. If you have a recipe that you would like for me to cook, I would love to cook it with you. I'm going to make it plant-based. I'm going to make it without oil. I'm going to make it without salt. I'm going to make it without sugar. I might get processed in the fact that I might have some noodles or something like that, but for the most part, I try to use a lot of plants in my cooking. We used a little nutritional yeast today. We used a little bit of tahini today. We used a little bit of Dijon mustard today. We used some coriander today. We've used some herbs de Provence, which I used it because of the time. We used some cauliflower that was not necessarily perfect. As you can see on there, I cut out the black places. Got a little sauce. We will see you next Saturday. Reach out to me if you would love to cook with me. And you guys have an amazing, healthy life. Bye.